since there's an infinite number of places a time traveler could go, maybe John is the only time traveler we're ever going to be aware of.
John Titor is known as the most strange time traveler in history. He arrived 24 years ago, claiming to be from the future and sharing chilling predictions about war, disease, and economic collapse. After revealing his warnings, Titor vanished, leaving behind more questions than answers. And now, many wonder if his predictions, some of which have come true, were real. Could the rest of Titor's warnings still be waiting to happen? The answer to this question will leave you shocked for months. On the second day of November in the year 2000, someone who went by Time Travel Saro joined a discussion forum at the Time Travel Institute. This individual sparked several discussions focused mainly on the concept of time travel. Initially, these discussions did not touch on events of the future, but rather centered on the technical aspects required to make time travel possible. Throughout this text, this person will be referred to simply as Time. But what Time revealed next would send shockwaves through the forum, leaving everyone questioning reality itself. And the truth he shared is something we'll uncover later. Time introduced his invention as a device driven by two unique types of energy. These energies interacted to form a special pattern that supposedly enabled the device to navigate through time. As he continued to post, Time expanded on the details of how the machine worked, and even shared photos to support his claims. Initially, this time machine was built into a 1967 Chevrolet Corvette convertible, but it was later transferred to a 1987 four-wheel drive truck. In his own words, Time laid out the operation of his time machine as follows. The device needs a little time to get started. Once you input where and when you want to go into the computer, a loud alarm and a small light begin a quick countdown. You need to be securely strapped in your seat by this point. Soon after, a strong force begins pulling you toward the device. It feels a lot like when an elevator starts ascending quickly. This pull gets stronger based on the power settings of the machine. At full power, this pulling force can be twice as strong as Earth's gravity, or even more. Time recommended not eating before using the machine to avoid feeling sick. Interestingly, there's no bright flash of light when the machine works. From outside the car, it might look like the vehicle is warping as light bends around it. Protective eyewear is necessary because of a short burst of ultraviolet light during the process. Time thought it looked like driving under a rainbow. After that, everything goes dark until the machine is turned off. He suggested keeping the car windows up since it gets quite hot outside the vehicle during operation. While Time's detailed descriptions were quite compelling, many people on the forum were skeptical. They pressed for more information about who Time was and where he came from. This led him to reveal some intriguing details about his life and the future. Explaining the state of the world in 2036 is a challenge without going into deep explanations about why things are so different. Time lives in Central Florida with his family and is stationed at an army base in Tampa. A global conflict in 2015 devastated the population, with nearly 3 billion people lost. After such a catastrophe, society shifted to prioritize family and community ties above everything else. The idea of living far from one's family became unthinkable. There are no huge factories churning out unnecessary goods anymore. Instead, people grow their own food and raise livestock, which are sold locally. Folks spend a lot more time engaging in face-to-face conversations and reading. Religion plays a significant role in daily life, and most people are proficient in basic arithmetic. Time mentioned meeting his alternate selves from different timelines on 2 occasions. He was born in 1998, which means his other self is still around on this timeline. He shared a saying from his time: everything that could possibly happen has already occurred somewhere. Many forum users were curious if the time machine was as manageable as Time claimed. Could people really control their movements through time as easily as hopping into a car? Time confirmed that time travel is indeed manageable, but there are limitations to how the distortion mechanism works. He described it like this: imagine walking through time as if you're moving through a cone shape. The further you move from the center of this cone, the more changes you might notice from your original timeline. Once you go beyond 60 years, the path becomes less stable, and your confidence in where you'll end up starts to wane, with more significant deviations occurring. For instance, if you tried to go back 2,000 years to meet Christ, there's a fair chance you might land in a timeline where he doesn't exist at all. Nonetheless, the machine's computers and sensors keep a